Hey guys, Shane with Monkeying Around. I wanted to give you a kind of a little review, maybe a little shout out about a product that I got that I'm kind of pleased with. It's actually two products. One I'm really pleased with. I really like it, and the other one, I guess the jury's still out on it. So the first one I got, if you watch my other video, in the middle of the night I woke up and stepped on my stove, busted it up, and ended up having to throw it away. But the only thing I really need a little small stove for is just to heat up some water, or maybe heat up some soup, or nothing real fancy, nothing real big, just something little, and a way to, more importantly, in the morning make a little coffee, so I can get up, get moving, have me a little coffee while I'm breaking everything down and getting ready to take off for the day. And when I busted up that stove, I started looking around. I checked Amazon, Walmart, a couple sporting good places, and everything was really more expensive than I wanted to put into it, or just really didn't fit my need. So I ended up finding something at Walmart that I was pretty excited about, and it is the folding stove with fuel by Ultimate Survival Gear. And if you can see, I like it. I picked it up. It was less than $10, so it wasn't nothing to it. So I thought, man, at that price, even if it sucks, I'm out $10, no big deal. And I picked it up, brought it home, and I was like, oh, I like this. It's got two little legs that fold down, and inside of it, it comes with some fuel. I've used it a little bit playing with it, but it's got it's got 8 little bricks of fuel to be able to throw under there and heat up something. Now I got some little shavings here, some little dust, shavings, paper stuff to use as some tinder. I'm going to check it out and see how it works with my other little gadget that I picked up, which is a Gerber fire starter. Now the fire starter, it's got a little lanyard on it, which I like. Everything has got to have some kind of little lanyard or way to hook it or something, because I hook all my gear to the kayak. That way if I fall out, I don't lose gear. Everything's still at some way or another hooked to my kayak. So I can fall out, but I keep all my gear. But when I took my trip, I took my last trip I took about 3 or 4 months ago, and some of my gear got wet, in particularly my lighter, and I had trouble getting it to light a fire because the flint got wet. It was pretty soaked, and it took a minute to get it going. I ended up giving up. I finally was able to use it later on that night once everything dried out, but I ended up giving up. And I keep a couple little matches on me in a little watertight thing. And so I pulled out a match and started my fire. But I bought this just to have for that, just in case. Now if you watch people on YouTube, some of the folks I've watched that use fire starters, I mean, it's like a couple little clicks and they've got a fire going. It's really not that easy, because you're shaving off little trimmings that catch fire, and you've got to get that little spark to hit your tinder, whatever it is that you're using, to actually catch and take off with a fire. The bigger piece of shaving that you get, the better chance you have of getting a fire. So you really kind of got to work at it, and I'm still working at it, to get something really good. But like I said, I'm taking another trip here in about 2 or 3 weeks when I get a couple days of good warm weather coming, and so I've been kind of getting stuff together and getting my gear ready to go. I'm probably going to do a video sometime, maybe before I take my trip, on the gear that I take, because I try to keep it really keep it really simple, because there's no need in packing a lot of gear. You don't need a lot of comforts of home. You're camping, you're roughing it. That's the way it ought to be. So I'm all about kind of keeping it simple and taking care of some food, water, and shelter. Kind of your biggest necessities you got to have. And if it ain't related to food, water, or shelter, I really don't want to take it. It's just a luxury and I don't need it. Plus with the fact that if I'm filming, I've got to take my camera and all its gear. Extra batteries, some kind of charger. I got to take a power bank. And so real easy can you start building up a lot of gear. And anywhere that you can cut weight and cut space is a plus. I'm looking at, I've been throwing it around in my head, and I've talked about it in one of my other videos about doing about a 200-mile trip. I recently just bought something to kind of help facilitate that trip, because logistically you got to figure you're going to need a lot of supplies to do a 200-mile trip on a slow river. The river I'm going on is pretty slow, so I'm figuring on an average I'm going to do about 10 to 12 miles a day. So it's going to take a little bit to knock out 200 miles. But I got me a fire starter, and like I said, it's the Gerber fire starter. They sell them at Walmart. They're not really expensive, but I picked it up. So we're going to show you. I'm going to show you my stove, fire starter, and the last little trick. I bought some other wet fire tender fire starters by Ultimate Survival Gear. And we're going to open one of these up. And that's going to be, once I get my fire started, that's going to be what I use to boil water, whatever, that kind of thing. See, it's not as simple as it looks. Some people on YouTube are like, a couple of swipes and they've got fire. Not necessarily the case. The one thing that I will say, I've not used the Gerber very much, but the little rubber washer that goes on it, not very stable. It likes to bounce around, that kind of thing, a little bit. Let's open up my window here to get a little ventilation going. We'll open up my door. But you throw your little fire on there, little stove, and in just a matter of time you can boil you a little water, make some coffee, rehydrate some dehydrated food if you got that kind of thing. So there's really nothing to it. And if you can see, that one little piece of fire starter burns pretty hot. And it'll burn for the next several minutes. I don't know. Let's see if it says on the container. It says it'll light when wet, but it doesn't say how long it'll burn. No, it doesn't say how long it'll burn. So, if you're looking for a little stove, go to Walmart, pick you up one. They were less than $10, and it's perfect if you want to do like a backpacking trip or a camping trip on a kayak or something, where space and weight is kind of important. There's your little spot to go. So take a minute, hit the like, hit the subscribe, and go check out my kayaking trip, 25 miles down the Yadkin River into High Rock Lake. And stay tuned, because like I said, we got another trip coming up, probably about 3 weeks, 2-3 weeks. We're going to go spend a couple nights on a little small lake, and there's some tunnels that you can tunnels or caves or something that you can kayak in. I've never been there, so I'm going to go check it out. So stay tuned. That video's coming up, but hit a like and give me a subscribe. Check me out. If you got a comment on my fire starter, put that down in the comment section. Tell me what I'm doing right. Tell me what I'm doing wrong. Is there a better one out there? Give me some advice. This is the first time I've ever played with one. But don't forget, like and subscribe, because we always monkeying around.